All right, this is Exponents and Roots Level 2 worksheet. So number 1 says 6x times 2x squared. So this is going to be all about combining like terms. So we're going to do kind of two separate problems and kind of bring them together. So the first thing, 2 and 6 are both numbers, so they can multiply together. So 2 times 6 is 12. And now I want to deal with the x's. So what is x times x squared? We learned in the last worksheet that this is the same thing as x to the first. And if I have the same base, which I do because I have x and x, I can just add the exponents. So I get x to the third. So the answer to this problem is 12x to the third. Number 2 is a little bit tougher. It says 2v squared in parentheses times 2v squared. So our job here is to first, let's deal with this. So we need to square both things. The square distributes inside of the parentheses. So what is 2 squared? It's 4. V squared is v squared. There you go. Times 2v squared. And now we're kind of back to a similar problem to number 1. We need to combine the like terms. So we're going to multiply 4 and 2, which will give us 8. And now we have v squared times v squared. Remember, the powers add together. 2 plus 2 is 4. So the answer is 8v to the fourth. All right, number 3 says 2x squared squared. All right, so kind of a double squared here. Remember that the 2 has to go to both terms. It's going to distribute inside. So what is 2 squared? It's 4. And x squared squared. Now this is a little different problem. We have x squared squared, kind of like that. Remember, when exponents are to the power of an exponent, they multiply. So what is 2 times 2? It's 4. So our answer is x, or 4x to the fourth. All right, now we have the square root of 81 over 121. Okay, so when we take the square roots of fractions, it's going to look a little intimidating, but it's not as bad as it looks, I promise. All we need to do is take the root of the top and the root of the bottom. So the root of the top is 9, the root of the bottom is 11. And there's your answer, 9/11ths. Okay, this is a nice tough one. So this one says, this is number 5, it says 8x squared over 10x to the fifth. So we're going to work on like terms again. Let's just think about 8 over 10. Don't worry about the x's for a second. So 8 over 10, I can simplify that a little bit. I can divide the top and the bottom by 2. And if I divide the top by 2, I get 4. And the bottom by 2, I get 5. So 8 over 10 is the same as 4 over 5. So that's not too crazy. Also, your calculator can play that game. If you do 8 divided by 10 and then hit the switch to fraction button, there it is. So that's fine. You can handle that. Now, this part is a little bit tougher. X squared over x to the fifth, right? So we know that if we have the same base, the same number, we can subtract the powers. So this is x squared minus x to the fifth, which is x. Oh, I'm sorry, I wrote that totally wrong. I should have written x squared x to the second minus 5 like that, which is x to the minus 3. Okay, so you could write your answer like this, because x squared over x to the fifth is x to the minus 3. That's fine. One way that you might see it on a test, though, this is fine, but just in case you see it a different way, it could also be written as 4 over 5, and that minus sign, that sends our x to the bottom, because remember, it flips things upside down. Minus signs send things that are up top, they send them to the bottom, and if something's on the bottom and it has a minus exponent, then it goes to the top. So anyway, that minus sign sends our x down here, and now the minus sign goes away because it did its job. It sent the x down, and now we have 5x to the third. So that's another way to write the answer. I'm okay with both, but just, think about this one too.